Tracking your opinion of your favorite or least favorite Housewives, Traders, Drag Race, or Selling Sunset cast members in your head, that's chaos. In this video, we'll start building my reality ranker, a clean, flexible Notion system where you can rank the cast of your favorite reality show as you watch. My coworker lovingly called this deranged and perfect, and I can't wait to share it with you. I'm Anthony Wagner, an optimization and certified Notion expert, and this is Queer Efficiency, where I help fellow productivity and reality TV nerds solve tiny problems. Let's get started. Oh, do I love a blank Notion page. I'm so excited to share this with you. As I said in the intro, my coworker called this deranged and perfect, and I fully agree with that assessment. This is so much fun. We're able to track the shitty behavior of all these reality stars as we watch, and there's graphs and you can share it, and it's so nerdy and data driven and ridiculous, and it's perfect. I love it so much. So we're going to build the whole thing. This video is just about the main database where we're going to track the actual ranking and get the charts and things set up so you'll get this core database. Now, you can download this by going to QueerEfficiency.com/rank, where you'll find this base version. So everything we cover in this video is in the template totally for free. Then in the next few videos, I'm going to add some kind of crazy additional stuff, which is actually really simple to add, but a lot of fun. And that will be in my Reality Ranker Pro, which you can download from that same link, QueerEfficiency.com/rank. All right, let's shut up about it and actually do it. So the first thing I want to do, I would like to make this full width. I already know I'm going to need the full width here, so we're going to do that. Next, we need a database. So we type / and then database inline pops up. We're going to give this a name. So this is something that I like to do whenever I name databases. I like to add the word database or put DB at the end so it helps differentiate it from the main page. So if you're running a search or if you have something a little more advanced and you're linking out to some other tool, you can tell which one's the page and which one is the database easily. So that's just a tip. Anytime I create a database, I try to add the word database or the letters DB at the end. We'll add a cover to this, and then I'm going to give it an icon. So the one I did, I searched person, and this is the one I picked for reality show. And I know we're going to use yellow and blue within, so I'll give this one pink. That's cool. All right, so this looks pretty good. I actually don't love this cover, so let's just use Unsplash. I'm going to use as the example throughout this entire series, the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. That's what I'm currently watching, and it's just first and foremost on my mind, so I'm going to use that. So we'll go with Salt Lake City and pull in what I hope is an actual image. We'll reposition that. Great. So the first property we want to rename, and we're going to call this cast member. That's the main property where we'll start entering people. So let's just do that to start. Let's enter a few of the main cast members for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Okay, we're going to shrink this down. I'm going to add a select property, and we're going to call this type. And then we want to add two options, one for main cast and one for supporting cast. And I actually like the yellow for main cast that it chose by default, but I'd prefer blue, I think, for supporting cast. So now what I can do is add main cast to those folks and add supporting cast to Brooks. And let's do one more thing. Let's group by that. So that way they appear in two separate spots. So that way they're organized and it's a little easier to navigate. All right, the next thing I'd like to do is add a status property because I want to be able to track the status of the cast, whether they're active or former. So let's edit this. Now, I don't need the to-do in this. You could, by the way, you could just do this as another select type property. I like the status property, but I don't need the to-do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rename this to active, and then I'm going to set active as the default. So that way I can delete this option. If it was left as default, Notion would have said you can't delete it. Then I'm going to change this to gray and say former. So what I can do with that, oh, you know what? I just realized it didn't change in progress to active. And so let me make sure I do that. It didn't take, so I just corrected that. Okay, so now what I want to do just to show you, let's add someone who is a former cast member, right? We all know where she is. Definitely has her freedom until at least 2026. We're going to change her to former, and then we want to probably not see her. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to add a new view and we'll do a table view. And we're actually going to leave it just like this. I just want a running list of the cast members, just so I have it so I can see everyone. And I will sort this. I always mix up ascending and descending every single time. So this is now sorted by name. Totally fine. And this way I can see everyone. And we'll call this is unfiltered. So that way we have it. And then this one we're going to call ranker. And we'll give this a chart icon. Cool. So now we just want to hide that cast member. So I'm going to come to status and choose filter. And then we want to say is not former. Now that filter is set and Jen Shaw is hidden, but she's still here in my overall unfiltered list. Next, we need a simple number property for the rank. And I'm going to give it that same chart icon. And then what we want to do, when I rank cast members, I do it on a theoretically 7-point scale. So from 0 to 7. I start all cast members at a 3, so it's a little lower than halfway. And then I increase and decrease their rank by 0.25. So it's pretty granular and it allows me a lot of flexibility. Now, I will say, season 5 of the Housewives right now, there are some people like Lisa Barlow pissing me off. So they're probably going to drop into the negative, and oh well. And if anyone does go over, they could go over 7. That's just the range I stuck in. I built this before in a tool called Miro, where I had it similar to some of those ranking tools you may have seen other creators using. And I liked that, but this ended up being so much more nerdy. I loved this more. And setting things to a 3 was kind of based on that, and that's kind of where this came from. But in general, we want this to come to 2 decimal places. So that way when I enter them, it says 3.00, and then all of them will go up and down by 0.25. So I'm going to copy this down by selecting with my keyboard, Shift and then arrow down, and then Control D. And then I can just enter a 3 for this. So everyone starts at a 3 by default. Okay, and then the next thing we want is a text property, and we want this for notes. As I make changes to this, we're going to enter why we're changing the ranking, so that way we have a running history of all of those changes and can go back and review them on your own or with people, which I just did with a coworker today, the one who called this thing deranged. I was going through and we were just cackling at work today because we were going through all of my ranking changes. It was very entertaining. So that can be you. Aren't you so excited? All right. So we have our notes field. Actually, one thing I'm going to do while we're here, I'm just going to hide this property because we don't need that in this view. We can see who those cast members are. And then I'm going to drag these in a different order. So rank is going to come up first and then notes will be after that. And now we want a quick way of adjusting the ranking up and down. We could just come here and say, all right, we'll enter 3.25 and we'll do it manually. That's kind of a pain, not the best way to do it. So what I've done instead is we're going to add buttons for this. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use an emoji picker, and that's exactly what I want. I want the up arrow for this. And then what we can do, this is a little tip. If you press and hold Alt on your keyboard, you can drag the field in further. I can show you if I don't hold Alt, that's as far as it will go. But as soon as I hold Alt in, I can drag it in closer. Okay, so let's set this button up. And we could leave it as a button icon, that's fine, because the actual thing that it's doing is this emoji here. So let's set this button's automation up, and then we'll just duplicate and tweak it for the down. Okay. This is very simple. Don't be scared of this automation. What we're going to do is anytime the button is clicked, we want to edit a property. We want to edit rank, and this is the up. And like I said before, I want to make it an increment of 0.25. So what I don't want to do is just set the value to 0.25. That's not what I need. I'll show you why. So I'm going to save that. And then when I click this, all it's going to do is it's going to change the value to 0.25 in those cases anytime I click it. That's not what we want. We want to increase by that much. So instead of doing this, we'll back that out, add a formula, and we're going to say this page, so the page that we click the button on, and then we're going to choose rank, and then we're going to say plus 0.25. Okay, I learned this the last time. It's going to yell at me because I didn't insert the 0 in front of 0.25. So you have to make sure to say 0.25 to get it to work, and then save. Save that. Now when I hit it, there it goes, and it's counting up. Great. Now we want the same thing, but we want to do the minus version. So we're going to hit duplicate, come in here. I'm going to use my emoji picker again, hit the down arrow, edit the emoji, edit the automation, and then just change this to minus and save. Perfect. And now we have buttons that allow us to quickly change our ranking. So I'm going to pull these over. I'm going to leave rank first, and then I'll move the buttons to the left of that. Actually, I'll put notes there as well. And then what we can do, we can freeze up to the notes field if we wanted, so that if we scrolled left and right, if there was enough, it would stay frozen. Actually, you know what? I'm only going to freeze to this point. So that way the name and the rank are always visible. I don't have enough properties. Let me see if I can just make this super wide so you can see what happens. Yeah, see what I'm talking about? That it's freezing so that that's always visible. We obviously don't need that, but just for the sake of example. So now what we want to do is one of the nerdy things that I love is we want to add a chart, because it would be great to be able to see everyone ranked in a chart. Why not? So let's do that. We're going to come up to this button to add a new view, and we're going to choose chart. Now, Notion thinks it's being helpful in this case, and it's not doing exactly what we need, but what I like to tell people when you're working with a chart, it's helpful to envision, same thing like we're working with a pivot table in Excel. It's helpful to envision in your mind what you're actually after and to say it kind of out loud, or at least say it to yourself, so that you can represent it in the tool. So what we actually want is along the horizontal or x-axis, we want to show the cast members. And then along the vertical or y-axis, we want to show the ranking from 0 to 7 or whatever the actual rankings are. Okay, with that in mind, let's make that change. It should be pretty straightforward from what it chose. So we said the x-axis, we want to show the cast member. So let's tell it what to show. Cast member. Cool. Everyone's there. Jen Shah didn't get a score because we didn't give her one. But now this is exactly what we want. This is not that useful. So let's come back here and let's change the rankings around a little bit. Let's bump Heather. We'll bump Meredith down because she's terrible. We'll bump Lisa even lower because she's terrible. And then we'll keep Mary kind of around here because little spoiler, she was terrible, but season 5 is like her redemption arc. I don't know what's going on, but I'm actually liking her, which is insane. So now we have a list of cast members. What I will say, this situation with Jen Shah won't occur in a second because we're going to set up templates for this. And so those values will be pre-populated. So that won't happen. But now we can come to our unfiltered view and we can say she is 0. Like we give her a flat ass 0 for ripping off old people. So now everyone has a rank. I actually think, based on this, it might be easier if we had the cast members along the left and then the ranking so that the chart was horizontal instead. I think that'll just be a simpler view to look at. So let's make that happen. We're going to change the chart type to horizontal bar. Already think that that's easier to read. And then what we'd like to do is sort, not by cast member, but rank high to low. So now I can see this delightful little chart and where all of my people are in my chart. Really cool and so freaking nerdy. Okay, so we're almost done with the base database, but I want to do one more thing, which is add those templates. First of all, one of the things that I don't love is that in the chart view, there's no way to group. So I could set up a filter and have multiple different chart views to see the main cast, the supporting cast, and then all cast if I wanted. But what I would find to be easier is to have some sort of delineation between the types, just to be able to see at a glance. Something else I'm realizing, Brooks Marks, bye, cannot stand. So what I did for that is I used an icon to represent the type. All right, so let's just quickly add that. I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna add an icon to Heather, I'm gonna use our speech bubble, and I'm gonna make that yellow to match the cast type. And then we would do the same thing for Brooks. What we don't wanna have to do is to set that every single time, nor do we wanna have to set the default ranking, the default status, any of that. So we're gonna use templates. Let's create a new one. For this new one, this is new main cast. We'll set the icon to this, but in yellow. The rank will be default to 3, and then everything else is fine. Active is what we want. We want it to set to active by default, and it would have done that anyway because that's how it's set up. Great. And then we're going to duplicate this, change this to the blue, say new supporting cast, and then leave everything else alone. Now we can add someone, and I wish that it would be a little smarter here, that you could set things by grouping. But so if I just added a new page here, it'll be smart enough to add the type, right? And that's about it. But what I can do, I can either add a new cast member by coming here and choosing new main cast, and then just giving that cast member a name. So Whitney Rose, and then everything else is pre-filled. Oh, I missed the type. Let's come back here and fix that little problem. My bad. Main cast, probably should have selected that. And then we probably need to edit that here. Sure do. Great, so that fixes that. And now actually what I can do, I can come in here and choose new main cast from this list, and then it will fix it. And I will be able to do that for all of the rest of these folks. And I can just go next, next, and now they populate. And it doesn't overwrite values that are changed, so it's not sticking 3 back in, but it is filling in the icon, which is what I wanted. Now I'll do the same thing for Brooks with new supporting cast, and all the rest of that should be good. So now when I flip into chart view, I can see those little icons, and I can see that Brooks is actually a supporting cast member. So now what you can do is come in here and enter, this is something dumb treated, and enter some note and demote her ranking or whatever. And now you've got a way to kind of keep track of your ranking and quickly change the value for each cast member. Now you could stop right there and this would be super fun, and you could just keep a running thing and see your chart and let that be that. But wouldn't it be more fun if every time we made a ranking change, it was tracked in a history log so that way we could see that, and then every time we made that change, it copied the notes so I could see Heather did this thing and this is the ranking and whether it went up or down. Yes, it's ridiculous, but that's where we're going next. I love this. I'm very excited about it. And it's actually quite simple to set up. So that is what's coming up in the next video in the series. I really hope that you enjoyed the setup for the beginning of Reality Ranker. Remember, I have this template as it is right here for you to download. You can go to QueerEfficiency.com/rank and you can get this for free. Reality Ranker Pro will also be there for you to download, and this will have everything after this video already built for you, including that logger, an episode tracker, and some other fancy automations that go in the background. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. If you found anything in this video useful, if you found anything in this video ridiculous, if you found it to be deranged yet perfect, I would love you to hit the like button. That really helps me out. It tells me what to keep creating. It also tells YouTube, hey, show this person stuff. People are liking what he's doing. So definitely hit like, subscribe if you'd like. And if you have any questions or thoughts on this, feel free to scroll down to the comments and let me know. I look forward to chatting with you in the next video where we get to make this document even sillier. See you then.